What do you think are some unrealistic expectations that the opposite sex has during courtship or dating?
I'll start with this one. Yeah, I'm trigger happy when it comes to this one. Obviously, I don't mean to make it as if it's the truth. It's what I see. One of the most unrealistic expectations during the dating phase is that obviously you pursue her, which is fine. You're gonna pursue her, and you need to tell yourself apart from the rest. I get, just like animals do it. You see that a male peacock will show those nice feathers, so that it's trying to show the female that, listen, I'm the most beautiful. But when we get into relationships, we're trying to build something with people. Okay, fine, you're gonna start first with getting to know them, and when we get to know them, that's when we do our best, we do the most. But the expectation that he needs to be my father, I think that's the problem there. And I don't mean to offend everyone, but we sometimes it shows a brokenness about us that people haven't really acknowledged. All right. So for you to see a partner as your father before time, because the Bible says you become her father. It doesn't say that explicitly, but by you virtually taking taking her from her father's house and bringing her to your own house and giving her your last name, you've taken her from her father. You're now her father. But that's not the time yet. So they're saying, oh, you need to pay for my rent. Oh, you need to buy this. Sometimes she's never had the money to do that for her own self, but she's placing those expectations on you. And listen, life is hard. I'll say this the second time. And so for me, that's the biggest one. We need to tell ourselves apart from the others, from the competition. But it shouldn't be extreme to the point where it's like you are her, her source and everything. Sometimes it's unreasonable, and it breaks a lot of men. I'm sure of it. Men even go to the lengths of even doing the heists. I'm sure people that do heists are people that work, have businesses. But because they've invited women that have unrealistic, expectations of them, they need to really go into the bank and break and do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. So that, for me, that's the most prevalent.
Oh yeah, actually, unrealistic is the fact that you want to just rush into marriage there. Especially in the Christian setting, usually guys just think you just want to get married there, and you're just like, no, it's not that it's out of my scope, but they always think we all want, yeah, like Tata said, they all think the minute they say hi, they think you want to get married like in 6 months. And I just like, guys, change, like, we also have our own goals. Maybe my financial goals don't support me to be planning, let's say we want a wedding, to be planning a wedding this year. This year, it's not that we always want to get married all the time, That's not what we want all the time. That's one of the unrealistic expectations. I mean, not to put anyone on the spot, I have had that experience, and I was younger and maybe I was a bit, but I'm so glad, like, fizzled out. We never got married or anything happened, because it wasn't bad per se, but like I'm saying, like, we don't always want to, that's not what we're looking for. We're just not all looking for marriage, that's not how it is. In my experience, actually, let me just share it. What happened was, let me share it without putting anyone in disrepute. I think sometimes what happens, especially when we're single, everyone is an individual. So obviously, if you're planning towards something, you can plan together. But when somebody is there, he's a groom, and then he wants to get married. Similarly, already plans about, okay, I already yan. But in my head, I'm like, but we're not one. And I've got my own dream. So what happened was, this person had a plan for what we should do, which was not my plan. Right? And I communicated that this is not my plan. So when I continued with the plan that I thought was right for me, that God wanted me to do, and I was like, which is fine, because he was a groom. He wanted something to happen. And that's the problem when somebody just wants marriage. They're already planning your whole life out. But you also have, for Solanka, you're a person who has your own relationship with God, and you're not married to anyone. God will also speak to you and, give you direction. So he was already now, I can nearly group. Lord, he feels like plan for our, God is saying the plan for our life. And I'm like, my guy, we're not married, please, So I continued with my plan. So that was my experience with that. I think another unrealistic expectation is, this one might get me in trouble, guys. If it does, please chop it out. Another unrealistic expectation is, like I was saying, we want to be pursued and stuff. I think there's a lot of, it comes back to what Pearl was saying, when she was just like, I know where Pearl was going with that God will provide thing. Guys, listen, yes, like you have to work and stuff. Nah, it's an unrealistic expectation for me, for somebody to believe that I'm going to come and just like we have to meet each other somewhere. And I feel like without really bad mouthing the guys in the church, a lot of them have a God will provide type of, and then you end up maybe now some sort of lady dating. Now it's like and I'm just like, I'm not getting involved in that. I don't know, please Mpo, if this is gonna get me in trouble, please chop it out, because I don't want to upset people. But it's, I feel like it's the honest. I don't know if you guys have experienced it. You know what? There's a lack of just accountability and responsibility. Yeah. Guys who want to be guys who want next time get old school. I want my guy to be a provider. It's fine, get that and stuff like that and all that. But like I don't want to be there like getting like a relationship.
No. Just to add on to what you said, I agree with you, because our fellow brothers, just because I'm serving in church, right? They believe that God will provide. Hey, they believe that if I serve in church, God will provide everything that I need. But that is totally unrealistic.
Yeah, so
because it puts a lot of pressure on you. When I throw
yes. And the unrealistic expectation then becomes, you are the one paying for dates. You are the one paying for everything nice. Can't you are better in your relationship. You are upset. And it's an experience that's there. So now I feel like it's an unrealistic expectation for these guys to expect me to pay for dates all the time. Please. Please. Yeah. Hish.
So I think it's a case of where we have taken that God provides. I always look at the children of Israel. He promised them a land flowing with milk and honey. It did not mean laziness.
No.
Yes. It meant tilting, going out into the field, tilting, looking for that honey, chasing away the bees. It meant work. Yeah, he provided the right environment for all those things to prosper. But somebody had to do
the work.
Yes, the work has to be done. It doesn't mean now I'm just going to be in church praying all the time and then manna will be falling from heaven. That's not what it means. God will provide the ideas.
Yes.
God will provide the land, the wisdom to be able to provide for. But you must work.
It's up to you to implement those ideas.
Yes. So we think that God, I guess there are some ideologies that have sprung out, especially in the faith. That things just come. You just stay you home. And your phone will report.
And the unrealistic expectation. The unrealistic expectation, taking it away from finances and dates, that was very simplistic. I like what you're saying. The unrealistic expectation is expecting support for me to come on and support what you, like you are saying, what you say God will provide for, maybe but you're not putting in the work. So the unrealistic expectation when we're dating is for me to say, okay, I hear what he's saying. So I can't offer my support there, and I can't be with you in that situation, and we can't go on a date. Like how? So the unrealistic expectation there is support. They expect support for what they say they will do, but there is no intention and actual work behind that word. There's no action. mme ba rata go expecta support gore no ga nkutlwe gore ke to go dira ya dira.
I think women generally are people of expectations, and for them to have expectations that are unrealistic, I think it goes back to the quality of the mind. And when the woman has a quality mind, some expectations would meet the quality of her mind. And so if I'm constantly being asked unrealistic things, she's expecting things that are unrealistic from me, then I would rule out the fact that maybe she's not the one because of the quality of the mind that I'm looking for. Yeah. So let me leave it there.
I'd like to jump in before you. You know, the more these gentlemen talk, the more the Holy Spirit comes to define my answer. And obviously I don't want to change it per se, but I want to fix it.
And just to align it a lot more to what what Anesu was saying, I think one of the most unrealistic expectations, and obviously this is not a women's meeting, it's a men's meeting, so we're talking about women, it's just the expectation that we are there to bridge the deficiencies, like they were saying. And I was thinking to myself, and obviously I don't know, this may be just a thought that I have right now, but imagine someone coming to you and expecting that what has been missing in their life is what you're going to give them. And because you're just a normal human being, you come into their life and things are the same. The first thought that they have is you're not the right one. But you really are. You need to work hard at it. And they're looking at you like, my father normally, he's very stern, he's very aggressive, he talks like this. And then you, on the other hand, you are soft-spoken, you're not really like that. And just the expectation that you need to follow a certain a certain template. Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that they need to work on. And obviously if we flip it the other side, for the next time when women will be on this couch, it's going to be the same as well, because they'll probably say, hey, no, he wants me to be like his mother. So I think they need to work on it, and also obviously we need to work on it. But this one is for you ladies.
Is money important during dating?
It's important, but don't make it your first priority. Yes, it's very important. Without money, to be honest, what's going to happen? So to me, money is important, but let's all bring something to the table. It shouldn't be one-sided. Just because he's the man, he has to provide, but we need to support each other financially and otherwise. So
yeah, I agree. And I also think that during dating, couples must really take time and talk about money, talk about their finances, talk about the projections, and look into your assets, your liabilities, look into the streams of income and the longevity of it. While I think when you are dating, it's not always about okay, I'm dating this guy, so I'm expecting him to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me as a sister. It's also about, okay, as a sister, if I meet this guy and we are dating, what effect do I have also on his finances? I also think that some of the men think, okay, women like money, they want more money, they are putting money in front, and then they tend maybe to shy away from opening up with their finances and their plans and what they have. So then it takes away that realistic thing from the relationship, because guys, not because this person won't bring money, hear me, but because we won't be able to sustain ourselves and our children in the future. So you uska bata ka mentality ya gore o le ba ga rata madi, so I can now disclose gore do I have money, or what are my plans, or what are my investments that will give me money in the long run. That's why I'm saying I need you to be real and show me this is what I have, and so that during dating we see what else we need to do to work on our finances, so that our children okay, I want to go to Game City with you every Saturday, I want to watch a movie. I don't even like those things. So there is more to dating than that. So money is very important, because it's very important. It keeps that thing. That thing. It keeps that thing. You plan better. You challenge, the way you tackle it is different. How it's different from how the tone and the distress somewhere deeper than when you are questioning.
Your emotions are stable.
Thank you. You know, so it has that thing. So it is very important. Don't try it at home if you are not yet there. So yeah, for me.
Money is very, very important. Money is I would say there's a word that I'm looking for, but money is very, very important. Imagine you trying to work things out, but there is no any vision that is supported financially. It blossoms. And so imagine you're trying to bring your vision to life, but financing it is a problem. Then it's not going to work out right. Money is important in a relationship. You need to go out. You need to have good times. You need to give her money. You know, you need to pay out Mobola. So money is very, very important in a relationship. You can't do without money. You can't do without money. You can do with faith, yeah, but you can't do without money. Money is important.
So broke boys shouldn't date.
Sorry?
So broke boys shouldn't date.
I don't know how to measure growth. But in that measurement, if we are saying that broke boys don't date, I'm also broke, but I date.
Yeah, let me come in here and say, just to answer your question, so is money important in a relationship or in dating? I guess those are two different questions. But let me just try and approach it this way and say the right maturity and the right philosophy around money is. Because whether you like it or not, we live in a world that requires basic needs, right? And you have to be an exceptional person to live without having to pay for these basic needs. That means you have a piece of land somewhere that you didn't pay for, but it's yours. There, and you can grow your own food, like live off the grid, all of those things. If you're not that person, and even it's arguable that for people to be that person, they may have needed money to be that person in the first place, right? But without talking too much, the right philosophy around money is important. So with my friends, we were discussing just last week about comparison. And we were talking about how comparison is the thief of life. Comparison is the thief of focus. Comparison is the thief of potential.
Yeah.
And we were just dissecting the story of the prodigal son. We took the perspective of the son who stayed. And you remember his response. It's like, I've always been here.
Yeah.
I have never even left your side. You didn't even give me a goat. You gave this guy a cow. I don't understand. You gave him everything, in fact, including his inheritance ahead of time. I don't get it. It's not fair. He blew it. The first episode of I Blew It was then. He blew it. And you celebrate when he comes back. I don't get it. Now, what we were addressing was the fact that his comparison, he was comparing himself to his little brother. He was the older one. That's even what makes the story even more disappointing. He was the older one. He was comparing himself to his little brother who made this mistake.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he failed to have the heart of the father. In that moment, he failed to be a good son in that house who supports and walks with his father and has the heart and the mind of the father. Why? Because of comparison. So bringing it back to money, I believe comparison is what's probably making it complicated. And if we can remove that and have the right philosophy of money, this will not even be a question, because it will be a given that money is important. But the fact that we use comparison to say we don't have enough is the one that makes things tricky. It's the one that makes people unhappy. It's the one that makes people bitter. It's the one that brings strife in a relationship. Because your philosophy on money, most likely because it's rooted in comparison, is stealing your joy. Is stealing the growth and the potential of that relationship.
Yes, sir.
But that's tricky now because you grow up in a certain monetary environment. The lady has grown up in a certain monetary environment, and it's almost a miracle if your minds can meet and understand and appreciate the fact that you need to have a healthy mindset of it, and you need to eliminate comparison. So money is important, but more than that, I feel like the mindset and the philosophy around money is important. If that's English.
Yeah.
Okay, is money important? Definitely. Money is important in a relationship. I mean, money is important even when you're alone. So obviously in a relationship, it is important. And I agree with Pearl, but I also, when we talk about money, I like what you're saying. You have to know, but we also need to be careful about that, especially in some settings, because you find yourself in settings where you disclose and then somebody is there for what you've said you have. So I think I agree with her, but it has to be at a kwa le ko goal posting kwa le wona go ha ra gora yano, because what sometimes happens is, and our sisters have been a victim of this. Yeah, there's a lot going on that we don't talk about. Where somebody is with somebody because obviously, I get in the beginning, you want to get to know, and you're disclosing, this is how much I earn, this is this, and you find that, as we've been saying, there's never really hard work or intention. Somebody's now with you because of what you have. So I agree with her fully, but I feel like those disclosures have to come and everything else she said. Listen, when there's money, yes, it won't solve everything, but you want to be able to go on. Guys, how are you gonna get to know each other if you can't even just go for ice cream? I know people are always saying go for free things. We say that because we read it a lot on the internet. How many actual free things except Pakile Woko can we go on? We don't have a lot of activities mo Botswana that are free. And even if you are going for a free activity, let's say you say you drink or something, or drink, money is important both ways. It's fine. We need money. Love does not pay bills. It doesn't pay bills when you're single. It doesn't pay your rent. It doesn't for your petrol. So it can't when you're now in a couple. So this thing is money when you're together. It's unrealistic because we're all looking for money even when we're single. So once we come together, we need money.
When I think about it, I don't know all women, but I know a few, and And one thing that I've known with the few that I know is that women have they have the ability to adapt. I don't know if we spoke about this earlier. And the biggest mistake that we never own up to this one, but this mistake is on us as men. When we woo women, we like to show ourselves as the big guy.
True.
And more often than not, that's not really the truth. It's not the reality that you're living. And she finds out about this truth, and she has the right to say, listen, this is not what I signed up for. And she leaves.
True.
And what normally happens is you go on Facebook and you bash her. You're like, no, she's not, she's trash. I'm sorry to say this, but this is what actual Christians do. Not just people out there in the world, but also in the church as well. So is money important? I was almost took a tangent. Money is important. It's so important. One person said it's the lubricant of love. I don't know what that meant. But what I'd say is, if you'll allow me, it is a catalyst to some affection. I don't know. You don't need it for affection, but it helps. To build a home, you need money. To take kids to school, you need money. Women themselves, they need hair, they just like certain things that we live without, So money is important, and obviously that's a bit of a shallow one to think about. There are more important things that we use money for. If you are a pastor like you, Muruti, if she's gonna support you, she needs to see money so that you can build a church, go for outreach, all of these things. They need money. They need prayer, yes, but they also need money. And can broke guys date? They can. They can. And I think I don't know who said it, but just how do we measure broke? Sometimes I look at myself. I can see that, if Dada was to come in, I am broke.
Yes.
So if he was to be asked, can this broke guy date? He'd probably say no, because he can't imagine living my life. But gentlemen, let's think about ourselves. Look at yourself and present yourself and your vision, like Muruti was saying, to this woman. And if she chooses to support it, they have the ability to adapt. Don't force them to adapt, okay? They just have that inbuilt ability because they help us. They help something. So can broke guys date? I'd say if you feel like you're ready to date and you have a plan for your courtship or whatever it is that you call it, go for it. I believe in my, compared to Dada brokenness, I think I'm ready to date. I think I'm good dating, and I think it works for me. So if you're ready, that's my answer. Go for it.
My brother, we depend on God. He's fixing us daily.
Amen.
Whether we are broke.
Amen. Yeah. So I too believe money is very important. There used to be a saying that Christian brothers are boring, and sisters will run away from Christian brothers because they won't be able to take someone out. They will be dragging their feet just to go for movies, just to pay for small things. Yeah. Like he's been saying, ladies, they want those things. They mean a lot to ladies. Those small things that you buy and you entice them. So I think money is very important. For us Christian brothers to break that barrier and make sure that we marry from the church, we need to be able to act in such spaces. Even if it may not be as much as a lot of money like the dadas, but as long as I have enough money that can be able to sustain a relationship, maybe towards marriage, then that's money. That's enough. Should broke guys date? Hey, it depends. It depends. As long as you know how much you have in your pocket, you know what you can afford. You know what you can buy. Even when you are finding for something that you can afford here. Because you will not be trying to buy a Ferrari, but yours is Honda Fit. So yeah, I think it depends from you. What are you looking for? With how much would you be able to sustain what you are looking for? So it depends. The way I'm broke, it means I can afford something of my level. So just make sure that you date someone whom you will be able to afford from your pocket financially. You'll save yourself from stress.
What does dating with purpose mean to you?
I think dating with purpose for me is being with somebody and intentionally trying to find out if they have the qualities that I'm looking for, and we can be a good partnership. That's what it is for me. That is what is intentional dating for me. Going on dates and actually getting to know the person. Can I actually, of course, I hear, I'm not married, I hear you'll still get to know each other, but just finding out, okay, for the person that I am, the dreams I have, the goals I have for my life, can we actually form a decent partnership? And still dating with purpose for me is when I find out it's not going there, leaving that so that I don't waste my time or that person's time. And then doing what? If I meet somebody, again, doing the same process over and over until I meet somebody together, or I'm just there, I see that these are not, because I feel like as much as, when you're asking what qualities maybe guys are looking for, they know what they're looking for, but I feel like we're also at a stage now where we also know what we're looking for. So then as much as maybe if he's not what, I shouldn't waste his time just because I like attention. That's what dating for me intentionally and purposefully is. If I see that we're not going to be a good match, yes, I'll go on dates, but once respectfully leaving. And if I'm fortunate, again, there's somebody else who if I'm fortunate and there's somebody else who asks me out, going through that process again, not wasting anyone's time, my time not being wasted, until we can build a good partnership and then we take it forward. That's what I feel it is for me.
My pastor, I'm sorry guys, I feel like I've been talking too much, but my pastor, Dr. Godwo Gulubani, he says blatantly, flat out, dating with a purpose is dating for marriage. If you don't see marriage in the horizon, then my friend, you have no purpose. And in fact, women expect that you should see them as a suitable mate or suitable partner so that you can marry them. They love being married. Most women, dream of being wives and walking down the aisle wearing a white gown. So as a man, if you're trying to, or man or woman, when you're in a relationship and you don't see marriage, then sometimes there's not really too much of a purpose. And not to push too much pressure, because there already is pressure because of this marriage thing in the church, but that's the end goal. And if it doesn't work out, then it didn't work out. But it helps if you're saying after 3 months, listen, I thought I was getting to know her, but I think this might actually be the thing. And then 12 months down the line, it's like, she's not. But at least you thought about it. You thought about starting a family with her. So for me, not trying to force it on anyone, for me, dating with the thought of marriage is dating with purpose. That's what it means for me.
Yeah, and same here as well. I believe dating with a purpose is to date someone with the intention to settle and start a family with that person. So yeah, I believe it's that simple, very, very simple. If I'm dating with a purpose, I have found someone, she is what I want, and I'm planning to call my uncles, then she becomes my wife. If it's not like that, then it means I'm just, I'm still gambling, I'm still playing around, looking. But if I'm dating with a purpose, I'm dating with the intention to give someone my surname.
Dating with a purpose means going on dates or dating to find out if you're compatible with this guy. To find out, okay, if I have a God's call on my life, will I be okay with this dude, having him around, so that I can be able to fulfill my purpose and his purpose. And then also on compatibility is, I think you intentionally want to find out how this person is with you first, with themselves, with your family, with your friends, with colleagues, how they handle things. You are checking level of responsibilities, commitment, fun, romance, money. Yeah, you don't want to have an unromantic.
If it's important for you.
Yeah, if it's important for you, or if it means anything to you, so you intentionally want to find out that compatible switch, sort of. And then I like what you said, where part of the intention is, if it's not working out, have the ability to get out. I think also it goes back to what you said earlier about the stages of the disclosures, because you don't want to be getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out, while you have disclosed so many things about you. So it's also important to know the stages and the levels at which you're dating.
I agree with you, because imagine now if every time what's an we're using money, every time what's, and now everyone knows you know. Next thing, it's just gonna go around and people are gonna be asking you out for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but also because when you talk of dating, because it didn't really specify at dating what kind. Now we are talking about purpose, not like just for fun or whatever. So because you know the intentions and what you are driving at, well, I don't date for fun. Yeah. Or just for the sake of being, I'm okay, I can be alone. So it's for those, because people tackle things differently. So I like what you said. That is very profound.
Yeah, this one is tricky. This one is tricky because I do not disagree. I agree 100%. No, I agree 100%. But I think you can sense a but.
It's coming.
Hey, but if dating with a purpose means dating with the intention to get married, people are 18 are dating, guys. And can you realistically say that you can find a spouse at 18?
Yes.
Really? Because I need that question answered. Because if I'm going to answer that question, I feel like experiences are different, maturity levels are different, cultures are different. So one of the marriages I really admire is I have this Indian family that has adopted me. I'm their son, right? And they met in November and got married in February because it was an arranged marriage. That's their culture.
Yeah.
You look at them, you would think they chose each other because it's really wonderful. They have a great synergy. They've gone through so much. They've gone through so much together in terms of challenges. They're raising wonderful children. They are walking together in life. But that was an arranged marriage. And a lot of them could probably even have it done as early as 18, 19, 21. You know what I mean? But my point is our cultures are different. And if I'm to bring it home, as someone who grew up in Botswana, I've grown up in Botswana, I don't think I was ready to find a spouse at 18. I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah.
If you were ready, praise God. But was I not looking for a girlfriend? I was. You know what I mean? If I'm going to be honest. Hey, thank God they rejected me. But I was. You know what I mean? So I think it's tricky. It's tricky. If you say dating with the intention to getting with a purpose is the intention to get married, then I think that eliminates a lot of people that don't even have the capacity to choose a spouse yet. That perhaps need to go back to the drawing board in terms of discovering who they are, discovering their purpose. Because the next thing you're going to try and be with somebody who is not in alignment with your purpose and they can't walk with you. They really can't walk with you in terms of where you're going, because that's not what they were built for. But then you chose them because somebody told you that if you're dating, you have to marry that person. Okay, so it's a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit of a tricky one because therefore, if I'm to go further and say, therefore, if dating with a purpose eliminates people who don't have the capacity to get married or to choose a spouse, does that mean they shouldn't date? I'll leave that open-ended. I don't know.
Let me put it this way, that I want to experience eternity in time. Because for everybody, for anyone who has entered the covenant of marriage, they have been given an opportunity to experience eternity, what would happen when Christ meets the bride, because Christ is the husband. And so anybody who has entered into a covenant of marriage, the reason why the devil is fighting marriage is that he knows that the covenant of marriage is that you get to experience eternity in time. And so I am there's a word I'm looking for. And I'm intentional. I'm intentional about everything. And so I'm making it a point that it leads to marriage. It leads to a marriage that is enjoyable, that for a lifetime. And so I want to experience eternity in time. That is the biggest purpose why I'm dating now.
I think Hofa and Pearl said it all. But just to sum it up, dating with purpose, you need to, I believe, first of all, you need to know the kind of person that you want. I think this last question sums up every other question that have been asked. And you need to know the kind of person that you want. Obviously, there are those character traits and personalities that obviously it won't be 100%. You won't get 100% what you want from the other person, right? From the opposite sex. But there are those things that you can't, like we said, I said support is very important. You said respect. So there are those things that you can't compromise, obviously.
Yeah.
So dating with purpose, to me, yes, both of you said it, what I've wanted to say. And then there's also that aspect where now you need, all the aspects of your life need to merge with the other person's aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're going opposite directions, like we said, if our fellow brothers, they love, like she was saying, Ari, in Nabo, God will provide. And I have money. Eventually, it's because and I'm feeling the pinch. You are not, right? So,
guys, we need to address this thing. You see the problem that is coming up in all this thing, in all these conversations. We really need. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your personalities need to match, and all the other aspects of our lives need to kind of match. Obviously, we can't be 100% on the same page. We'll have our own differences, but yeah, and also. The most important thing is knowing your purpose with God, what God wants you to do and what God wants you to be. It's very important. I can go out there, get a calling, because we have different callings, and then and I'm just like, because you know, it's gonna be difficult. Eventually, you reach a point now where because you need to find somebody who is in alignment with your purpose. So yeah.
Any last words?
With regards to the question.
Yeah, with regards to the whole conversation.
So how do you go?
I'll start. I guess my last words would be, and I think this is just a life principle. What's good for somebody else isn't necessarily what's good for you. You need to be mindful that just like that parable of the talents, the maker is coming back to say, I gave you this, what did you do with it? And our answers will be different because we are different. Because even the talents we were given were different. So the word for talents I can even replace in trying to answer this question of your capacities for various things were different. So even in terms of this dating thing, always go to your God, you and your God, and say, Lord, what's good for me? What are you saying? Who have you put around me to advise me? Send me to those people, so that by the time I have to give you a report, and that report, as we all know, can come at any time. If Jesus doesn't come back today, you are the one who's going to meet Jesus. You know, and I mean, I say this candidly, but we've all buried people that are younger than us, or we've buried people that didn't grow up to be the age we are. So your time to account is any time. So your philosophy, your mind about dating, as we're talking about dating, you want to make sure it's true. You want to make sure it pleases God, and you need to make sure that it is what's right between you and your God.
Yeah.
Everybody else have the same responsibility to account for that.
Yes. The Bible will say that you have not because you ask not. And so I think in we are talking of dating and relationships. I strongly believe that God does not give you a wife, but He opens your eyes to pursue and to see exactly what you are getting yourself into. And so as a man, it is my duty, it is my responsibility to communicate daily with God, to speak to God concerning every little detail of my dating or my relationship with people, and even go as further as mentioning the little details and asking the little things, so that my mind may be renewed and transformed, so that I can be able to align and be able to pursue right and see right and have right.
What I can say is that we all have roles to play, even in our relationships. Sometimes it's us who are at fault, and we have put ourselves at a point where we don't want to be corrected. We know what is right, but we are ignoring to do what is right. I believe in marriage. I believe that marriage is one of the most beautiful things that God has blessed people with. But if we can play our roles accordingly, in line with faith, we will always see beautiful marriages, and we'll see beautiful families out there. I also want to challenge brothers out there to say it's your duty to lead in every relationship.
Yes, sir.
If you can go out there and lead as a Christian brother in faith, you will see marriage will be a beautiful thing to you.
So moja marago ke kgosi. Just thank you for this opportunity. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be sitting on a couch answering questions that make me actually think, you know. If there's one thing that I like about myself is I like to hear people's opinion about things, because people's opinion about things makes you see things clearly. You know, sometimes you think you're smart about an answer, but you think, I need to really think from that side and that side and that side.
Yeah.
So that's just a warm thank you for, you know, to MJ and Malueto, to you brothers in Christ. You know, God bless you. I think in closing, what I'll say is, Jesus said this after he preached the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 7 verse 24 to 27. He says, whoever that hears these words of mine, I will liken him to a man who built his house on a rock. He said the rains came, the winds beat upon that house, and it stood. Obviously he goes on to talk about the foolish man, but I just want to talk about the wise man, because I believe we're going to go out there and build things, build families, build empires. Let's do it on the sure foundation, on Jesus.
Amen.
All right. So it might look like a foundation when you're looking at that beauty, but is it a foundation that you're building on Christ? Let's build these relationships on Christ. They'll be hard. It doesn't mean Christ is not there, there'll be dilemmas. It doesn't mean that the Holy Spirit isn't there. Let's keep asking God. Let's build on Him, and everything, it will stand the test of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We still love you, brothers. No, I'm joking. No, but we do. We just, there's a disconnect, guys. I think there's a disconnect that we need to work on. For me, from what I'm seeing, there's a huge disconnect that we need to work on. So I'm yet to hear. Maybe here we're talking about our experiences, but we're also going to get an opportunity to hear what the other guys are saying. God, I get both sides. We have a disconnect, and they probably maybe have a disconnect with us. I don't know, but there's a disconnect, and we need to just sit down and see how we can fix it. I think that those are my last words. And altering, please. Can they just go back? Where everyone sits in the church? Let's just sit there, they must move. Yeah, please. Abatsa nehela halela bannele rona. Baska banna hale ha murutu setsa butse re toga re saena. They must just get to know us. Hela re le kwa hela ba iketlile hela re sa tabogela gore someone wants to be a groom, somebody wants to give somebody their surname. They must just, can they relax? Guys, can the brothers relax? Can the brothers relax?
My last word is I think we need, as individuals, we need to be authentic about who we are. And our brothers, Leboni, we need to be realistic. We need to be realistic in church. In church, we go to church for... Obviously, we go to church for the word and God's greater purpose, right?
Yes.
So we need to be realistic when it comes to that. Like, and just be ourselves, because when you're authentic about who you are, the next person, it's going to be easy for them to be real about who they are. So let's leave the expectation.
And build a relationship where we're helping each other become better people, People are getting married and they don't even know people's struggles, because like Proverbs 31, when you are Jesus, Can we just... Surely we're not going to church because we're all perfect.
No.
So
that's the other reason why we go to church.
So what's the front? Aish.
For that.
I hope you chop some of these things off, because I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get cancelled.
I'm sorry. Hi,
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I hope you're not giving the brothers a hard time.
She looks like she is.
Ladies, can I just speak for you now? This is a moment. Oh, Shem. Guys, ladies, tell being very real. Don't be unrealistic as well to our fellow brothers. Get off your high heels, be real with yourself so that those guys can be as real. We just need to have a connection. Yeah, it needs to connect and blend quite nicely. It shouldn't be difficult. No, it's not about that. It's, no, we don't want to close. We are not closing any deal. You are getting to know a person who has been themselves for over 30 years, 35 years, 20, it doesn't matter. You are knowing a personality here that is coming from a certain background. So there's a whole lot behind that pretty face or that lovely voice. There's so much more behind that. So take your time, get to know people, have at least $50 for drinks, take the person out for dates a lot, so that you have meaningful conversations with just be real and be light and be yourself, and let the other person see you for who you really are, so that you can get somewhere. I think it wasn't not difficult because motho ba tla go nna dojela ba tla go hita sengwe. What is it that you are after? O batla re tswala ka bonako re no, just take your time. I would say take your time and think about it. And I know and say, oh, God has showed me, but also ask that God also to talk to that sister and don't come to me and say God has said. Also talk to God, so that, and then also and receive it well. And because God has given you that logic, that wisdom, that thought, so you apply yourself. Don't just apply yourself and take time and have fun and date with a purpose. It will be great. Yeah.
That was fun. Thanks, guys.